I bet that you didn't know that there's one phobia that you and hundreds of millions of other people have. And there's strong evidence to suggest that this is the most widespread phobia in the world. And the worst part about this phobia is that it is destroying your mental health, your focus, and your ability to concentrate. And the second worst part is that absolutely no one is talking about it. So what is this phobia? It's called nomophobia, and it means kind of what it sounds like. It's the fear of not having your phone with you, or the fear of not being able to be contactable via a phone. Let's talk about the rational side of this fear. And I totally understand having this fear if it was taken through this lens. So imagine you're in a new city and you are not familiar with the layout of this city. And you have a train to catch. You cannot miss this train. You really need to catch it, but you don't know where the train station is. So you reach down into your pocket and then you have that heart-sinking moment. We have all felt it, right? When you put your hand there and you're like, oh shit. Okay, that heart-sinking moment and your phone isn't there. Oh fuck, we're fucked, right? I get that. That is the rational side of not having your phone on you, because your phone is actually super useful in those situations, right? And it can be really stressful when you need a train to catch and you don't know where the train station is and you don't have your phone on you. Okay, but ask yourself this question. Would you feel a little bit weird or stressed at the thought of going for a shit without your phone? Okay, this might sound like a really weird question, but just think about it. And most of you are probably gonna think, well, you know, no, it's probably going to be pretty easy for me to go for a shit without my phone on me. So then why is it that when you go for a shit and you've forgotten to take your phone with you, you sort of just sat there kind of stressed, looking around and fidgety, and maybe you get the sweats and you don't really know what to do with yourself. You just kind of, oh, what do I do now? Usually you're just on your phone, right? But you don't have it. And I bet some of you dirty motherfuckers, have even considered getting up with your shitty ass and sort of squat walking over to your bedroom to get your phone and then kind of squat walking back to the toilet. I know some of you have done that shit. Don't lie, okay? Why is it that we do that? Because we clearly don't need our phone whilst we're having a shit, but you have this weird urge, this kind of fear of not having your phone on you. And the real reason that this happens is because of a deep fear of boredom. Everyone these days is scared of being bored. And this is a byproduct or a side effect of phone addiction. It's a behavioral addiction that has accumulated over the last 10 to 15 years, where people have become addicted to their phones. And I'm going to prove to you in this video why that is. So the following symptoms of having nomophobia are the constant temptation to pick up your phone. You can be at a social event, maybe having a few drinks with your friends, maybe you're at dinner with your family, you're eating some food, and you just have an urge to get your phone out. You don't even know why you're getting your phone out. There's nothing for you to look at on your phone. There's no messages to answer. You just have an urge to pick up your phone. Another symptom is you find it hard to maintain a conversation with friends, and you feel the urge that you need to pull out your phone and just to start scrolling through Instagram or to check your camera reel. Okay, I've done it before, you know, even with me, as someone who is so anti-technology and I just hate being on my phone. Even sometimes I catch myself scrolling through like my camera roll because I have no apps to go through. I just scroll through my camera roll. It's this weird sort of phone addiction that's been built into so many people nowadays. And the last sort of symptom is you're constantly procrastinating. So you have shit to do and you find yourself just constantly on your phone and you can't get the stuff done that you know you need to do, whether it's cleaning your room or recording that YouTube video or editing that video or whatever it is, doing the garden. You just can't do it. Now, I'm gonna prove to you now why phone addiction is an addiction. So let's think of someone who runs, okay? A runner. And at the bottom of this chart here, I've got months, okay? So they just start running on month 1. Side on the left is the amount of hours that they are running per day. So a runner might start off on month 1 just running 1 hour a day. And then month 2, he goes up to 2 hours. Maybe month 3, he stays at 2. And then it kind of slowly goes up and up and up. You get the picture. At what point do we say that this runner is addicted to running? Or is it even possible to be addicted to something that is good? Or we can use the same exact example with someone who is a painter. So they're spending 6 hours per day by month 6 painting. What is the threshold where they are now addicted, where it's gone from a nice little hobby to a full-blown addiction? Where is that boundary? And now in ancient Roman times, an addiction was simply a word that was used for someone who was sentenced to addiction. This meant if someone had stolen something from someone else, they were sentenced to addiction. And what was addiction? It was you had to work to pay off that debt. So whatever it is that you owed that person from what you stole, you would have to work very hard to pay off that debt. That's what addiction used to mean in the ancient Roman times. So it basically was just a word to describe a thing that was very hard to get rid of, right? The addiction was the debt that you had to work hard to pay off, like forced labor, like slavery. You were sentenced to slavery. So that's all addiction meant. And over time, it's become attached to basically anything that is just hard to stop doing. So at what point is a good or a bad habit considered an addiction? Well, this is my definition, and I think this is the definition a lot of other people use as well. But if an action is done purely out of passion, and it can be stopped for something else, so if it's not getting in the way of your work or your relationships with your partner or your children or your parents, it's not getting in the way of your social responsibilities, and it's also not getting in the way of your personal hygiene, then I don't think you're addicted. I think if you can stop doing something in exchange for those tasks, right, work, personal responsibilities, relationships, then I think that you're not addicted. You're simply just passionate with that thing. But the main thing that makes something an addiction, however, is if it starts to get in the way of your personal life, right? Like work and your social responsibilities. And then the second ingredient for addiction is it has diminishing returns. So you need to do more and more of that thing to feel the same way as when you first did it. With the example with the runner, he has to run for 4 or 5 hours to feel the same sense of accomplishment that he felt when he first ran for 1 hour, if that makes sense. So at first, a runner who is constantly increasing the amount of time that he runs, that sounds healthy. That's progressive overload, that's progress. But what about when he comes home from work and he goes straight out running, he gets his shoes on, he changes and he goes straight out running. And he's not seen his kids yet. And then by the time he gets back from running, his kids have gone to bed. Okay, so he's not seen his kids that day. That to me is an addiction, because even though running is healthy and he's running for 4 or 5 hours a day, it's not healthy anymore because he has personal relationships and responsibilities that this running addiction is now getting in the way of. And it's the exact same issue with our phones. But the problem is people assume that because pretty much everyone in the world, by the definition of addiction, has a phone addiction, that it can't be an addiction, because an addiction is something that only a small percentage of the population have. For example, you have heroin addicts and alcohol addicts, porn addicts, but they're all addicts within their little group, right? So they're put into this separate category away from society. You have the addicts and then you have society. But it's inconceivable, this idea that the majority of society could be put into a bin of a phone addict. And that is the case. By our definition, the majority of society is a phone addict. As in, your phone is getting in the way of your personal relationships. You can't maintain a conversation with your family at dinner anymore. Personal hygiene, okay? People spend longer sat indoors and scrolling through their phone, and this is leading to unhealthy personal hygiene habits, like not washing, not getting outside, not being fit and healthy, getting in the way of your ability to work, right? People are on their phones more in the office. People are on their phones when they go to the toilet, so they're spending longer on the toilet. People who want to build an online business and don't want to work these shitty 9-to-5 jobs anymore can't actually focus on building that business or recording content or doing YouTube or whatever it is you're doing, because you're just addicted to your phone. And when you need to be on your laptop actually working, you can't, because you just keep finding yourself scrolling. And phone addiction is only getting made worse from social media, getting more and more and more intense, and people spending longer and longer and longer on the phone. And basically, it's all just accumulating in this massive, massive society-wide addiction. So what can we actually do about it? Because this is all a little bit doom and gloom, and I figured out exactly what you need to do. It's the same as any other phobia. It's exposure therapy. You need to expose yourself to the concept of not having your phone with you. And this is a lot easier to do than you might think. So first thing I recommend, go and sit outside. Don't take your phone with you. Just go and sit on the grass outside. But the grass is wet. Okay, put a blanket down or a towel. But it's too hot outside, put some sun cream on. But it's too windy. Mate, go and fucking get outside, okay? Stop coming up with excuses. Don't take your fucking phone with you. Go to the gym and don't take your phone with you. Just don't worry about getting pictures at the gym like what I've got here. Don't worry about getting content. Just go to the gym, have a sick workout. Don't worry about bringing music with you. You don't need to always have music to the gym. And if you did want to take music with you, why don't you invest in like an old ass iPod or something, right? Where you can't get distracted on it. Just take that with you. I bet you can get them really cheap now. Read a book. You don't need your phone to read the book. Just read the actual physical hard copy or get a Kindle. I've got a Kindle. You can get them for like 50 quid on eBay. And yeah, just read books on that. Again, exposure therapy. You're not using your phone. Go for a walk. This little picture here is where I am right now in Thailand. Yes, it looks like a bit of a shithole, but it's nice walking down there because it's nice and warm, okay? And it's just, I like going for walks and I don't need to bring my phone with me to go for a walk. So basically just keep doing tasks that don't require you to have your phone on you, okay? Like I've just mentioned, and there's loads more you can do as well. You'll learn eventually you can live without the need for your phone all the time. Obviously with the first example that we had where you're in some new city or new location, okay, maybe you come to Thailand, you're obviously gonna want to have your phone on you, okay? And I would totally understand it if you didn't have your phone or lost it, that would be stressful. But I'm talking about the basic day-to-day tasks, okay? The addiction of your phone, you don't need it, okay? This is gonna help you to improve your focus, productivity, and your mood. I feel so much better in life since getting rid of my social media apps and spending way less time on my phone, and I've been way more productive as well, okay? And then here's the key. Do not relapse. The best way to do this is to get rid of your social media apps because there's very little else you can do on your phone when you don't have YouTube, Reddit, Instagram, TikTok. Trust me, like I said earlier on, sometimes I'll scroll through the camera roll and that's about it, okay? But even I'm trying to stop doing that. And there's not really much else you can do after that. Maybe you can answer a few WhatsApps or something like that. But yeah, do not relapse. Best way to do this is get rid of your social media apps. If you want some personal help from me on how to actually get rid of social media and then stay off social media, go check out the top link in the description. It's my personal school community. Okay, mate, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you learned something new or found that informative or helpful in any way. I'd really appreciate it if you left me some feedback in the comments on how I can improve these videos. I'm always trying to improve the videos and give better advice for you. Okay, mate, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.